Hi everyone, my name is Danny and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about a charity that means quite a lot to me. There are certain things that you hope you never need, but once you do need them, you're incredibly glad they exist. I have been a victim of sexual assault from someone that I knew through an online community. And the difficulty with that is that at this point we have begun to get into situations where there are many spaces in real life that are made up of largely internet communities. So places like fandom conventions or YouTube conventions become unsafe when there are carryovers from unsafe activity online. The problem with online harassment, especially sexual harassment, is that many people will tell you that it doesn't exist. Many people tell you that because someone said something online doesn't mean that they're going to carry through or that it should mean anything to you or that it should be important. The problem is it's very, very possible to be significantly hurt by things that people say online. That's also very possible for those things to carry over into real life spaces. I became aware of a charity called Uplift because of those experiences. I go to a convention every year and I noticed their presence the year after we had a lot of, I guess the word to be would be awareness of certain things that have been happening within the YouTube community. And many of those presenters or content creators do show up at these fandom events. And it became suddenly clear that spaces that we had thought were safe online weren't anymore. So those people that we had looked up to, that we had interacted with, that we often were friends with, became not a liability, but something that we had to be aware of. For me, it was a very close friend of mine. At the time when it happened, I didn't really feel like it was something that I was allowed to be upset about or that I had anyone to talk to about it, which in hindsight is incredibly not foolish, but I should have known better. And I didn't, because that's what being human is. But Uplift has started doing a lot of outreach at these events that help people like who I was then and who I am sometimes still now recognize the danger in certain behaviors, and for bystanders as well to recognize when something isn't okay. Uplift empowers people to address both online and in person in these communities the ways that situations and interactions can become unsafe. And had someone been able to recognize what was happening before, had I been able to recognize that what was happening to me wasn't normal or okay, I could have possibly prevented that from happening. And I want other people to not have to go through the things that I did. And I think Uplift is doing a really great job of that. They've been doing surveys for cons that help to address what behaviors are happening or not happening, because so many times if we don't see something, we don't believe that it's happening. So in the same way that some people believe that, no one is ever harassed online, many of us have a tendency to believe that because our con experiences or online experiences are safe or positive, that everyone's are. I'm queer, and that I think plays a big part in how people interact and certain vulnerabilities that me and people like me, whether they be queer people, trans people, people of color in certain communities, most minority communities face, especially online. Because online you can seek someone out who you don't like because they're different than you. And that victimizes or presents to victimization those communities wherein people are most vulnerable. So Uplift giving those communities the tools to recognize that behavior and to kind of speak out when someone says something that's not okay, to not dismiss it as a joke or not meant that way, and to recognize it for what it is incredibly important, because many of us didn't recognize those things for what they were when they first started happening. So equipping people to address those problems up front instead of waiting until after something has happened to say, wow, that's really not okay, that's not cool that it happened, I'm sorry, will hopefully make it so that people don't have to go through this and then get help. I have great hope that Uplift is moving towards a reality where these things, for the most part at least, don't happen, because either people are educated on things that aren't okay, or people are educated to reach out and step up for somebody when they see something that isn't okay. Uplift needs your help, though. They need donations, they need funding to continue doing what they do. They need help to be a presence in these spaces, both online and IRL, to kind of connect with the people that they need to speak to, with the people that need to hear these things. And I'm really glad that I got that opportunity, and I'd strongly encourage you to consider learning more about the organization and donating to help make sure that everyone has the resources that I have now, and that no one has to go through the things that I did without those resources. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you look into the charity and are able to donate or share information on them so that other people can donate as well.